He was the man who said he never wanted to be Pope. But in 2005, Pope Benedict became one of the oldest to ever take on the role, at the age of 78. He had been looking forward to retirement when his predecessor, Pope John Paul II, died. Benedict became the 8th German Pope and was known for his conservative and traditional views. But his papacy was marked by one of the biggest scandals to hit the Catholic Church, the sexual abuse of children by priests. The most damaging claims were that the Vatican itself was complicit in the cover-up of many cases, avoiding punishing the priests, sometimes moving them to another church where they continued to abuse. Pope Benedict insisted that the Church accept responsibility, saying there was sin within it. He met with victims, issuing an unprecedented apology. And he made it clear that bishops must report abuse, introducing new rules to make it easy to kick offending priests out of the church. It later emerged that almost 400 had been defrocked by Benedict in 2011 and 2012. He would go on to shock the world with his resignation in 2013, becoming the first pope to stand down in 600 years.
The church is going to miss him because he has been a very great man, an advocate of peace. He tried to implement moral principles of the church and the entire world, so there is no one who will miss him.
Benedict spent several months at the papal summer home before retreating to a monastery within the Vatican grounds. He had fallen into ill health in recent times, with Pope Francis visiting him often. He said Benedict remained lucid, with a good sense of humour. Born Joseph Ratzinger, he grew up in a traditional Bavarian farming family, although his father was a policeman. He spoke many languages and acquired a fondness for Mozart and Beethoven. At the age of 14, he joined the Hitler Youth, as all young Germans were required to do. He was drafted to fight in World War II, but deserted the German army near the end, and was briefly a prisoner of war in 1945. He went on to become a university professor, and during the 60s was particularly appalled at the students adopting Marxism. The Liberal decade would enshrine his traditional views, and he would later be a leading campaigner against the Church becoming involved in social activism.
We don't
want to stop promoting man's liberation, but to free it from doctrines that appear to help, but which in fact impede reforms through their tendency to lead to totalitarianism.
Ratzinger already had a reputation for taking an uncompromising position on homosexuality, women priests and contraception when he was named Cardinal of Munich in 1977. But he was also full of Christian compassion, focusing on human rights, environmental protections, and the fight against poverty. He was described by those closest to him as laid back, mild, and humble, but with strong morals. Benedict managed to offend Muslims, Jews, and Protestants with his actions and speeches, but he also reached across faiths, visiting the Blue Mosque in Istanbul and the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, as well as praying for peace at the Western Wall. He was a divisive character, believing the strength of the Church came from not bending to public opinion. That disappointed those who had hoped he'd modernise the institution, but his supporters say he was exactly the man needed to lead the Catholic Church through such challenging times.